Hi, my name is Idan. I'm from GitHub Next. Who here has heard of GitHub Next? Oh man, it wasn't unanimous. What a fail. Okay, so we're from GitHub Next, and very similar experience. Basically, we're the skunkworks fuck around and find out team at GitHub. Our job is to sort of figure out long bets, just like what if AI could, actually help you write code, which was ridiculous not that long ago, but it's no longer ridiculous. So anyways, I'm here to talk with you about Copilot Workspace. Who here heard about Copilot Workspace in the last, okay, there we go, more hands, that's good. So you have heard of GitHub Next. Copilot Workspace is sort of our attempt to look into the future and see what do these AI capabilities, how do they get expressed in our tools going forward? Because I don't think it's chat from here until forever, right? Like, how do we actually make it help you as a developer, come alongside you, help you with the part of writing software that is not just the generation of lines of code, but like understanding where work happens, what files am I going to need to touch, what am I going to need to do, right? That's actually the harder part of being a developer. So without further ado, I'm going to show you, this is an actual task. I actually need to do this. I need to deploy this tomorrow because I need to do a release. So there's a bunch of fonts that we released a while back called Monospace, and we're about to roll a new release of that. And there's some changes, and I need to make some changes to the website to reflect that. So here we go. I'm on the repo for the website. And look, I click on this code thing, and if you're admitted to the Copilot Workspace Technical Preview, you get this Copilot thing. I could just go to an issue and click open in Workspace, like if you already have an issue like a bug or a feature request. But I can also just roll up to the repo and paste in here's my task. So what I need to do is this thing is well, we've moved these ligatures out from this stylistic set to this other stylistic set. And so you can imagine this is like the text of a good issue, right? A good issue says what's wrong, what do we want to be different, and what's the acceptance criteria? When I succeed, what's it going to look like? So I'm going to click Start Task. And I'm going to click Start Task again, because internet, it's thinking. Oh no. I have internet. What's up? The demo gods are not being nice to me. The internet gods are not being nice to me? Let's try this again. No, there's literally no internet. Are all of you on the internet at the same time as me? Okay, let's try this again. Cool. This is github.com. I promise that GitHub is not down right now. There we go. It was just the internet. Okay, so now we get popped into Copilot Workspace. And Copilot Workspace has a flow to it. Basically, you start from a task. You say what you want to happen, right? And if we just went from that to the code, right, especially a lot of code, not like Copilot, which is suggesting maybe a line, maybe a function, it's likely to return hot garbage, right? Because if you just give a little prompt and then say good luck, then the model might go off in weird and wrong directions. But we've introduced this sort of flow where you go from task to specification to plan to code. So the first thing the model does is it generates a spec. It's understanding of how does the application or whatever it is work today, right? It's understanding like currently the ligatures don't exist in this new stylistic set, and they haven't been removed from this thing, but it's also identifying where in your code base that stuff exists, right? Which is imagine if it's a code base you've never seen before, or you haven't written something about this thing in the last 6 months, so I don't remember where that file is and where the work is being done. And here, Copilot Workspace has figured out where in my repo work needs to happen in order to change how this works. And then it's also producing this proposed part of the spec, right? Like a good spec, it's saying here's what exists today, and here's what I want to exist tomorrow. So looking this over, it looks pretty good. It's proposing yes, they've been moved out to this other stylistic set, and they've been removed from that in this specific file, and it's checked by default on the site, and it's available but without the ligatures. This looks like a pretty good spec. But if I wanted to, I could edit any one of these bullet points in plain English, right? And alter its understanding, like if it missed something about how it works today, or it missed something about my intent for how I want it to work afterwards, then I can just edit that right here. But I like this spec, so I'm going to click Generate Plan, and then it's going to go ahead and literally generate how do we go from current to proposed, right? It, in a very detailed way, it's finding the exact files it needs to touch, and then it's producing like, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And so I can now go ahead and click Implement Selected Files, and it'll start generating that. And whoa, that was fast. I think that was cached. It doesn't work this fast in real life. It's a lot slower. It's actually very slow. Because behind the scenes, we're actually doing quite a lot of round tripping to the models. In fact, all of this happens much more slowly. So, you know, think of this like the cooking show, where it's just like, I'm going to mix everything, I'm going to stick it in the oven, and oh, look, here's a whole cake that I just happened to have lying around in this other oven. That's the vibe of this. Okay, so what I get back is this diff, and it's saying like, okay, it's done all these things, and this looks correct. It's moved all these things into this other thing, and it's updated that. Okay, but like looking at a diff, you don't always know like, is this code correct? What you want to do is run it, right? And so I can now open a terminal, and then I have to put the mic down in order to type. So hold on. Oop, that was faster. Cool. So behind the scenes, we're spinning up a code space with my code, and that code space syncs live with changes. Like if I wanted to, I could actually edit this diff like directly. It's an editor, just like in VS Code. And then I can run it, so I can command click on that. And then it'll open in a new tab. No, maybe if I just click on it. All right. And then it'll think for a second while it port maps and everything. And I can actually like inspect my changes live, see how they work, right? In a minute or two. What's up, internet? So it's easy for me to go from my understanding of what I want to get done to what exists today, to what should be in the future, to what's the plan, and I have those steering points that make it return something that isn't hot garbage. And also, very importantly, like if I just prompted the model and then got back an entire pull request worth of code, that wouldn't be fun to review, right? It'd be like, I don't know, maybe this junior AI engineer just did a terrible job. I don't feel like reviewing that. But by moving the spec and the plan phase like into my like sort of by doing the spec and the plan phase, by the time I get to looking at the code, I have all this context in my head of like, I expect to see this, I expect to see that, I expect to see all these things. And so here, this is the actual Monospace website, and now I can scroll all the way down to the bottom and check that it really has added this stylistic set 9, and that when I click it, it does the right thing over here, and the right ligatures have been removed from this set over here. So now I have like good confidence that this thing is actually correct, and I can go ahead and be like, yeah, this is awesome, create a pull request, and then it'll even write the pull request message for me. And then I can be like, cool, that's awesome, create pull request. And the Copilot workspace that was used to generate this pull request is actually, even during the technical preview, which is limited, you have to sign up and it's a wait list, anybody can actually go to this and open it. So now, like, you know, anybody who comes to this can open up that workspace as a read-only viewer to see how we got from A to B. That is Copilot Workspace. And I'm going to invite up some other folks from GitHub Next. We've got Eddie, Russell, and Cole, and we're going to do a 5 minutes of Q&A. Answer your questions. Spicy questions are acceptable, so come on down. Thank you.